Greetings from this intuitive public TV adventure that we are on. I am going to bring onto the screen Ryan. Hello, Ryan Erickson. Thank you for joining us today. We are talking
Greetings.
with friends from the 2024 Global Summit, Co-Creating a World That Works for All. There are more people who are going to be joining us. Johanna is going to be here. I see Akiko in Sweden is in the studio. I will bring her on the screen also. Now, this is it. We've never, I don't think we've ever done this before. Ryan, I think you were here with Johanna and I, but I think we still only had two people on the screen. I don't think I've never had more than two people on the screen. So
I've
this
had 6 or 7, so we can get up to 8. Oh, no, wait. I think we can get 10. I think we can get 10.
what?
I've not gotten 10 yet, yeah.
That
We can
sounds
get 10.
crazy.
You and me and 8 other wonderful spirit beings out there, such as Akiko.
Hello, Akiko.
Hello.
Hello. I'm assuming the stream is working. I haven't actually checked it. Usually I check it on another device. So this is 3 people on the screen. I have never done this before. I'm very excited. Akiko, I haven't gotten to meet you in the summit previously. Would you share about your experiences in this last month or so?
About the summit? About the summit? Yeah, I mean, it has been so interesting to meet people from all over the world and getting to know people who I've never met before, and some people I've met in previous other summit, but most of the people I've never met before. So now I have been learning a lot from them, and I don't know what we are going to do tonight. I mean, for me, it's tonight. It's 10 o'clock here.
I don't think any of us really have any idea what's about to happen. We just know that it's going to be great, whatever it is.
Okay.
Johanna Otigam, I would like to welcome you to the on-screen live stream that now has 4 people in it.
Yay, we're here. We made it.
Johanna and I knew that we would co-host in some way, and we didn't know how many people would be able to join us. And then Ryan said that he would be able to join us. And then a few more people said that they might join us too. So I hope that they can. Well, Ryan, would you say something about your experiences in the Global Summit thus far? What jumps out for you?
What jumps out to me were the surprises of new faces and new voices engaging with an idea that I'm just playing with in its germination. And that I wrote an invitation, and people that I didn't know have wanted to connect with it. And that was as a result of the open space. Again, open space technology is kind of my thing, that I love to do that very much. And facilitate and participate, and getting a chance to do that in the first event, in the phase 1 event, was fantastic. And even before that, there was a connection with people. So all of these new ways of doing a big open space. So before the event, then the phase 1 event, which was 24 hours, I signed up for every circle, so I could go wherever I wanted to go, whenever. So whether I was supposed to do that or not, I don't know. And so that and then now this phase 2, which is this figuring out how might we, like that famous 3-word thing, do more together and deeper and go farther over this 1 month period, and then come back to open space and reflect and ingest and integrate and reintegrate. I think that for me, and this is not the first time Ben has done something like Ben Roberts, who's a co-convener along with Peggy Holman and Barrett Kohler, of course. But Ben is this super process artist. He has this wonderful processes that he used in the invitations with Kuma. It's like this weird stuff. But now I'm starting to get it. and how do we do invitations? And to me, that opens up a world of possibilities to engage with the rest of the world of those of you who are possibilities in your personhood. So that's my opening riff on what the summit has opened up for me.
I'm helping someone connect. I'm keeping an eye on way too many screens. I don't even know how I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I will help Francois.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I can send this. I already sent a message on Telegram, and then I had a message typed in there. I don't know if that gets to him or not.
I'll get him on LinkedIn.
Ryan, if you feel moved to do any production magic while we're doing this, please feel free to jump in where you feel moved to jump in.
Much appreciated.
Wow. We keep leveling up. How is it that we keep leveling up? That's really, it's been such a theme. And Johanna and I have been really engaged in discussing, like, what has this meant for those who don't know as much about the work we do in the Intuitive Network. We're connecting the most disabled and invisible communities, the most disabled and invisible people in every community, to the greater conversation. So we've been facilitating events at the Barrett-Kohler Summit entitled Ecosystems of Inclusive Care and Belonging. We've had 3 particular sessions that have gone really, really beautifully well. And one of the things Johanna and I have been talking about a lot recently is that the Global Summit has given us this sense of the larger social body, the structure of a social body, where we are participating in the physiology of that social body, and our experiences as people with severe disablement circumstances, people who have often been invisible in our community spaces because of disability circumstances. We have unfortunately become very used to not being able to feel part of the physiology of a greater body. And one of the amazing things about this global summit has been that the infrastructure is organized in such a way that there are actually a lot more entry points for us than there would be usually. We've had quite a difficult time connecting and engaging, actually, but for it to have been possible at all is really rare and really amazing. And so we get a lot of physical energy from that, actual function and capacity from that. And so we've leveled up a number of times where I didn't know that I would be able to submit the sessions that I submitted. I thought that maybe I won't be able to do it at all. Francois, hello, welcome. I don't know if he can hear us yet. Your microphone is off. Let's see. Oh wow, the screen.
I'm trying to unmute, but it's.
Can you hear me?
Hey, there we go.
I can't
All
hear
right,
you.
welcome.
Unless I
Ryan.
turn, because I'm also watching you on YouTube, so I could turn the volume on YouTube on, but there might be a delay.
Yeah, if you stop the YouTube from streaming, it will help your bandwidth. Streaming here also is a thing I had to learn the hard way a bunch of times. Johanna, while we're sort of all getting situated, do you want to say more about what I was just describing about the access that can be created for people who are in terrible hardship, who usually aren't heard from at all, the access that can be created through this kind of summit infrastructure that we've been experiencing June and July?
Yeah, I mean, we're just excited to have been able to reach it, which one of our strategies is to come as a group body ourselves from the network so that we can help each other access the tech and step through all the necessary things. So we certainly used that strategy as well to participate. And then We just did our Let 2 sessions this week asynchronously on Telegram, and it was really delightful to get to do that. We thought about lots more invitations, lots more participation that we wanted to do that we weren't able to reach. But there's also, there's, the different ways we've been able to participate, engage, get ourselves on the map, and so on. But also bridging to really get to try to offer a real-time asynchronous session has been really delightful, and just exploring, I think, one of my favorite parts of that experiment is just reflecting back to how the summit technology is set up, both the digital technology platforms and the social technology of how we're doing this, the open space vibes, and so on. The interplay of those two things, and then bridging to Telegram, and just, the ability to work asynchronously does just automatically make things potentially more inclusive. People who can't get there in real time, whether they're experiencing disability circumstances or not, the ability to reach for something, and to get to participate whenever you can show up and not have missed the conversation. So we have, our public main station chat on Telegram. You can show up in that chat on Telegram and participate in the session as if it was real time right then for you. Even though the conversation happened, it's still ongoing. So I really appreciate that part. And I don't know if that's kind of what you meant, Megan, but I think the other aspect is just, the sense that there's something bigger than us, that we're not trying to fight the tide of all the difficulties that we have, but that there's people actively bridging to us, and having that sense of feeling connected to something bigger, where there's all this wisdom and skill and openness and intention, and also a culture of collaboration, and hopefully of combining our focus together to co-create the next structures for life to thrive. I don't know.
Yeah. I want to mention too, man, I got to learn how to use these buttons. Ryan knows how to use these buttons, but I don't know how to use these buttons. It's like magical powers. It's one of the things that I want to bring up, and then I want to ask everyone here if others want to share their experiences about this particular thing. So Johanna and I frequently celebrate Telegram Messenger because of the asynchronous functions on it. And one of the great things about this Berrett-Koehler Summit has been that there are a bunch of parts of the infrastructure that are dedicated to helping people share notes and recordings about the sessions that have occurred, about the events that have occurred. And everybody's sort of learning how to do that still. I think we've been learning over the course of the past month. But the fact that that's there, the fact that option is there, that there is this asynchronous participation, that's the value of it is recognized and it's encouraged, and we're in a social atmosphere where we're learning to do that, that is massive for the accessibility of people in hardship or people with disablement circumstances. So that's an especially magical part of the whole thing. Would others like to say anything about the sessions that you attended or the sessions that you hosted in terms of your learning process with the summit?
Francois, you look like you're trying. You look like you're trying to say something, or maybe you're not. You can't hear.
No, I couldn't hear Ryan. I can hear the rest of you, but I couldn't hear Ryan.
Oh my goodness! What? Megan, Akiko, Johanna, can you hear me? I
can hear you, Ryan.
Okay.
I can hear everybody.
Oh, that's weird.
Weird.
The technological wilderness.
Francois, you have the Ryan filter on. Someone may have provided you with the Ryan filter to install on your computer. So, Francois, then I'll invite you to share, because you are, again, in my mind, one of the I can't even give the superlative to how important you are to the community of open space technology, and open dialogue, all of that stuff. And I'm curious for your experience in this summit, what has been different and new for you?
Were you able to hear Ryan's question?
Yeah, maybe not. He's got the Ryan filter on again.
Okay, can you hear me first of all?
Yes.
Yes.
We can hear you.
I heard the question. I heard the question, but there's a delay. I'm hearing.
Francois, were you able to close the? You said that you were streaming it on YouTube. Were you able to close that?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, brilliant. I had the YouTube was, I had the wrong one.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. That happened to me too.
Okay, I thought I'd shut it, but obviously I hadn't. Okay, sorry about that. Well, the biggest surprise is this particular event in that doing the live stream, and because everything's otherwise familiar, a group of people who are talking together and having a conversation about something. I'm intimately familiar with that, and but doing it on a live stream and possibly having, I'm not sure if anybody's actually watching, but possibly having.
there are people watching, actually.
All right. Be careful what I say. That's a new experience. The Telegram was a bit overwhelming for me, since you were just talking about Telegram, because it was like going through trying to figure out the relevant messages out of thousands and thousands of messages that were already there. So that and maybe I didn't find the link. So thank you, Ryan, for sending me the link to the streams. There's actually Donna is also trying to get on, and I've sent her the link, but I'm not sure she's seen it.
I'll go find Donna.
I just sent it to her directly on Telegram.
All right. Okay.
I just saw her message in our community chat, which for anyone who hasn't encountered us repeating it over and over yet is t.me/community IPR. That's where we've been discussing this whole amazing thing. Thank you, Francois, for sharing about your experience of it. It really is it's wild. The whole
so
thing
the
is wild.
So what's new here? What's new here? There is something new, and this is what the part that. Oh, hello, Donna. Hello again.
I need it. Thank you.
Is a phase 2. So I'm intimately familiar with the mechanics and of working with KikoChat, and I mean, I was a tech host on that, and doing open space online. Because I've been doing lots and lots of it. I mean, after COVID, basically, that's the one thing I really specialized in. But the aspect that is new is what's Ben's brought in is bringing this phase 2, which is not an ongoing constant thing, but is really a self-organized way of sort of people's creating sessions, creating the times for them, the calendar and everything, and that's a very and the idea being is, because most open space sessions they run for 2 or 3 days and then they're sort of finished. There's obviously action that leads out of that, whereas this is different in the sense that there's this continuity that goes on, and I keep meeting the same people again, even though we're not like Akiko and Donna, even though we're not actually normally would never be connected in this way. So that's really interesting. It also enables, and of course it's an experiment, and there's a lot of learning with the technology involved. And I think that if we do it again, I think at least the people who've done it once will know much better what to do next time. But it's all part of learning the technology. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting experiment, because it's sort of bridging the gap of that sort of one time and then finished, and this ongoing continuous. It's sort of a bridge between the two.
The fact of the collective learning process, like the body of the collective learning process, is really this amazing experience. And with the idea for the phase 2 of the summit to last for a month, to give people time to learn what that could feel like and sort of explore in it. That's, I mean, my sense is that a lot of people are like, I want the learning process to continue longer. And it's so fulfilling to be part of the body that's learning that together. That has been really magical for me. It's something that we have really centered in the Intuitive Network, but we haven't really found it other places. So to discover it in this is a really powerful thing for us.
I was just going to mention that one of the things we haven't managed to do yet, but we've been noticing, is that anybody can make an announcement once a week that goes out to the whole group. So I'm kind of excited to participate in that way. And I've been hoping people are like making notes or going to share reports about other sessions too. And then of course we've got the live reflection sessions coming up, which I'm going to try to make it to one of those too, but we'll see. But the announcements thing is asynchronous, and you can link longer documents, and I appreciate that a lot.
I'm sorry, Johanna. I jumped over you with my excitement to invite Donna into the jam session here. So
go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good. Thanks. And Francois, I mentioned earlier that my sculpture here started looking like a wine glass, and I thought, oh, I'm just moving slightly out of the way. So it's like your backdrop isn't really your backdrop. Something's changed there. The timing of taking all of the month of July is really intelligent, because, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I didn't come in prepared for, discussion spread out over a month. I just didn't know what I was coming into, and just jumped, and then thought, oh, I needed to prepare. I needed to, give some thought to certain things, and maybe put some, information together about what I'm thinking about before I sponsored a conversation. I mean, Ryan came in with very, good understanding, solid understanding of what he wanted to present, and so did Francois. So, that was really helpful. And initially I wasn't feeling great, so I just wasn't processing everything as fast as I would normally, and I didn't get everything mapped out in my head like I would normally do either. So the timing, I think, was really good, just to allow life while, sorting out the contribution, while noodling on, in my case, I call it noodling, but, noodling on the conversations that could happen, the potential for wider conversations to spark out of it. Because certainly I see a lot of that opportunity for my communities, my networks. I've got a bunch of them, and they're not here. And gosh, it would be fun to bring them in. So I see that in the future going forward. I know Francois is in a similar place, and I'm sure Kiko is as well. So yeah, tremendously, I think very well designed. Again, I started thinking today about what would the technology look like? What would the picture look like? And I had this little animation in my head that, okay, you've set up an event, close that door, and then trot over to this link, and here's where you put da-da-da-da. And then when you've done that, then trot over. So it would be kind of like a cartoon animation. That may have worked. But as it was, I'm just like, Ben, I'm lost. I don't know where my link went.
Go ahead, anyway. Ryan. What you were about to say?
Well, I was going to say, have I got the tool for you? You know, and tool heads are there's against there are these a lot of these placifying tools. I mean, there's some I think we've seen. I got Gather.town, and that's one, and these things. That the tool that I've come to know and love is a tool called Welo, and that it actually does placify. So I don't know if either I was going to share it on the screen just to give a little taste of it. But yeah, so there are those places where you can wander around, you click in the room, and then you pop into a screen like this, and there you can put resources, documents in the room that you go away, and then you come back to that space, and that document you had is right there in the room where you go. It's just that next level up that makes you feel like, oh, I'm in a place that has a bulletin board. I'm in a place that has, oh, there's the TV, there's this YouTube channel that's always on in that room. So it's a very interesting mode, and I think I would endeavor to. Ben, if you're listening, I want to do that next time. So.
What a great
Ben might be able to join us, but I think he has an in-person event going on right now, and he might be able to beam in from there. We'll see if he's able to make it. I sent him a link in Telegram. One of the things about this also, bringing up these tool sets, all of these different tool sets. So like one of the amazing things about the Summit infrastructure is that there are a bunch of different tool sets that are sort of stitched together. This connects to this and this connects to this. And in this day and age, like whatever that means exactly right now, people have really been conditioned toward simpler proprietary walled garden platforms, where there's just one platform and it doesn't want you to leave, and it doesn't want you to build with the other platforms. And one of the things we've had to do with the Intuitive Network is if we're going to make things really accessible, if we're going to make information very mobile, for different people with different needs in terms of interacting with that information, we have to stitch together a lot of different tool sets. And so that was one of the things that made me feel right at home when I started discovering the Summit infrastructure, even though, I mean, honestly, with I have severe neurological injuries that I have not recovered from. And so things can be very disoriented for me. Things can be very tangled up. And so it was excruciating for me to figure out how to learn these different things. And yet the fact that somebody else was doing this, that there's a team of people using this method to build infrastructure that is much more truly accessible and truly functional than the walled garden single platform, like Facebook is one thing, right? YouTube is one thing, but we can string a bunch of things together that give us much broader functions as a community. And then a big part of the value that we bring to it as people is what are our interactions with one another? What are the relationships we're building as people, so that we can carry our digital interactions wherever possible into the physical world, into our locations. So that's been really powerful for me too.
I'll just add to that and say the sense of being part of an ecosystem, and like being able to create it, being able to share. Like I have this thing in my own work of like, please steal my ideas. I'd like to see them happen more in the world. But it's a huge deal to really see. I think this is probably the first time since I joined the Intuitive Network where I've seen someone besides us doing elaborate stitching together to create ecosystems. And again, another piece is the caring for the body. Like there being a lot of tech support, there being live calls and asynchronous, and just a lot of different access points. So I know some people particularly have been investing in the collab calls, and those have still been going. I don't know. I think there might even be one more this week where, like even just about accessing or creating your invitation, there's a lot of support too. And so those things are familiar to us because of how we operate in the Intuitive Network. And it was really just a little bit of like homecoming or just delightful to see, like, okay, it's not crazy to stitch all this stuff together. It's actually like it's part of how we create ecosystems.
And I mean, that's been crucial. We found out that there was no way for us to connect our most severely disabled colleagues if we didn't organize things that way. So, I mean, just like on cue, Ben arrives in the studio, like this moment. Hello, Ben. For us to realize that there's a team working on infrastructure that works this way is such a miracle to these communities. Hello, Ben Roberts. It's such a joy to have you here.
Thank you. It's a joy to be here, but it's also hard to hear. People over here that are.
Oh, wow.
Hi. Woo. Go back
How awesome. We've been talking about the miracles of this infrastructure for the summit. So Ben has had an enormous part in that happening. So I'm very grateful for it.
Wanting me to enter through the StreamYard app. Should I not bother with that?
There's an app.
Yeah, there's an iOS app. I've never used it. But.
You're here, Ben.
Oh, so that's why I couldn't get in.
And probably let me go to somewhere slightly more quiet for a moment to do this.
I'll let Ben travel for a moment, and then so he'll be there. Oh, he's smiling, so I'm going to bring him back in.
So cool. I didn't know we could have this many cameras on. This is awesome.
This is nuts. This is just wonderfully crazy. It's the most wonderful thing. I'm having a wonderful time.
I'm in the library.
It's Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I feel like it's Colonel Mustard in the library with the wrench.
Now the spotlight's on you now. So did you commit a crime? What's your alibi? What's your alibi, Ben?
Yes.
What's your alibi for putting this whole thing together?
So, yeah, this is fun. I arrived here into the space about 15 minutes ago. We were running a little late, made like 8 wrong turns, only to discover that the 2 people who got here first, Fyodor and Usha. Some of you may have crossed paths with Usha during the summit so far. Fyodor just landed back in the States from a trip to Europe and Africa yesterday. He was actually the catalyst for our in-person gatherings happening here during these 2 days in DC, because he lives in Oakland and he's headed back to Oakland tomorrow evening. But so I arrived here to discover that he and Usha have learned that Usha was in his building in 2017 when the Global Regeneration Collab was first getting going, because Dave Witzel also lives in Oakland, who was one of the sort of organizers of that. And they had no idea, right? And so that happens. And when I walk in, they're cracking up, saying, "You won't believe this." 5 minutes later, in comes Shalanda, who had set us up, knew about this place, Eaton House, which has a very interesting story, with her partner Rakia. And Rakia says, "Oh, you're the one you're Ben from up north. I was just driving through Connecticut." I said, "Oh, really? Where were you driving from?" "Oh, the Connecticut River Valley, like farther north, like in the Springfield area." I'm like, "Yes." I know a lot of people there. She and I had been on calls together. We were trying to plan a decolonization workshop for the Connecticut River Valley Bioregioning Collaborative back in 2017, 2018. I had no idea. Had any, Shalanda had mentioned something about a partner who was up in New England, but it took us like 3 steps of back and forth to make the connection. So that's the kind of thing that's happening here.
Amazing interconnections to be discovered in all of this. We had people join from the network we didn't expect at all. We didn't realize that people had seen it. And then suddenly there were more of our colleagues there, and that was so wonderful.
Did you ever organize something on Telegram?
We did, and it
Yeah.
went really great. It was just it was a few people joining at a time, but it underscored for us how powerful the Telegram infrastructure is. And our Telegram infrastructure, it's the hub of a lot of stitched together tool sets, much like what you've got with the summit, these different things that interconnect. So we've been really scheming about how we can connect more Telegram infrastructure to the whole summit infrastructure. Whatever opportunities may present themselves in the future, we're on it. We want to help out.
Great. I know there's been a group going on Signal too that John Abbey organized, because that's where he likes to hang out. And that was part of the vision of this, is to say, instead of telling people they've all got to come to our house, we can go wherever people are already going, and because that's the world we really live in now, including physically showing up in places where there's somebody from Massachusetts that you know.
Amazing.
It's really like to realize that there are more people in all kinds of places all over the world who are already tuned into this or wanting to tune into this. People who have been looking for more others who want to talk about these subjects, who want to co-create a world that works for all. It's this emergence of people. So I mean, just to have this have been going on for a month. And then what happens next? Ben, do you want to say anything about what you think might happen next? Could we talk about that?
Well, for starters, a lot of the infrastructure we put in place doesn't have to go anywhere. The calendar is free, so we can keep using that. Kiko Chat is the functionality that doesn't involve people getting on Zoom calls. Even that, we can keep Kiko Chat going, and maybe we have some money as well. We're still trying to figure out how to figure out what to do with the money. That's turned out to be a little more complicated than I expected, but I think there'll be enough to pay the modest fees associated with continuing a presence on Kiko Chat, and also some app to continue adding data to the map. Certainly the map can stay visible in whatever its final form is, say at the end of August. But we do have essentially committed funding through the end of August for that. What other tools? I mean, this stuff obviously can continue. We have the groups.io listserv that might become a more active space as the summit wraps up. And there's a link to that through Kiko Chat. Like everything is linked through Kiko Chat. And then there's always been an intention to do another summit, and it was never clear what the timing might be for that, except that I think do it more than on something more frequent than an annual basis. I originally was suggesting that quarterly would be good on a seasonal basis.
Quarterly would be amazing.
It would be amazing. In my sense, I don't know. We haven't had the conversation yet, but there is a session next week about that. On Tuesday, I think it is. And like all of these sessions, part of the goal here is to say that these conversations don't have to be limited to a particular call that happens at a particular time, because there'll always be people interested who aren't there. So that's just one piece of the conversation that will be going on, on an ongoing basis. We'll also be doing that during some of the closing reflections. We have these 3 2-hour calls coming up next week. And the first hour will be really a closing of this process, or kind of a closing circle like you would do in a typical open space, of people each having a chance to reflect on what they've learned and what's next for them. And but then the second hour will be more of a kind of a debrief of the process and a consideration of what do we do next. What would the next summit look like? And so I think there is a clear collective intention to do another summit, and to have a larger group be part of the convening of that and the design of that, and to build on what we've done here, but not necessarily do it the same. And that's as far as we are with it.
I do want to call out. I don't think I feel like I can quite put it on the screen. Although Ryan, if you would know how, the summit map. I want people to be able to at least go to this link that I've got up on the screen. The summit map is this really interesting part of all this, because so I'll speak from my experience and from the vantage point of the Intuitive Network, where there are all of these invisible people. Thank you. I assume Ryan just did that. Thank you, Ryan. We have had this long-term experience of not being immediately part of a village body. People who are very disabled get cut off from everything that's going on in ways that people don't realize until they're disabled, and it's happening to them, and it's very silencing and it's very isolating. This map, for me, has been a really profound experience of the whole summit, because it provides an analog of the village body, like the energetic interconnections that we should be in environments. I am not able to leave the location where I'm living very often. It's very difficult for me because of disability circumstances. So like I and a lot of other people don't get to interact in interpersonal environments very much at all. And so it's painful to not have the experience of feeling the interconnections. And when we look at this map, it's not the same as being able to be in person with a lot of people, as being physically present in the village. But it's a really amazing sensory experience to be able to see and browse through. Ryan, I don't know if you can like zoom or like move some things around to show people how it moves, if it's easy for you to do. Like it's a deep experiential. I don't.
Right.
Ben, how would you describe what I'm describing?
It's gone. I was just telling Ryan. Oh, he dropped off. Did we lose Ryan?
We might have just for a moment. I don't know if let's see if I can recreate that. Well, it's okay. We'll wait for him for a moment.
Take that opportunity to say one more thing about the map, which is that it's not just a picture of who's here and of the invitations that they've made, but it's actually a communications tool. So all those lines that you saw there were people responding to, either saying I'm the host of this invitation and connecting themselves to what they're, or people responding to those invitations. And there's data in there about those responses. That's part of what the color coding is. In some cases, there could be quite a bit of information, including even already an engagement with the invitation. So, for example, you could put an invitation out saying, I'm looking to get connected with this sort of person, right? And through the map, somebody could respond, connect themselves to you and say, here are 3 people I know who you might want to talk to. And you could do that on the side too. There's contact information for just about everybody here in one way or another. But there's something also, I think, as you're pointing out, Max, about making it visible, including that you can see who else is interested in a thing, and then reach out to them and become part of an organizer of that too. Hey, Gary.
Howdy.
Gary's joining us here in the library.
And who is this?
Awesome. Hello, Gary. Welcome.
I can't see who you are.
That's Max.
I got a phone call in the middle of this from some things going on in my family of origins system, so I had to leave that off here. So
who's there? Hi.
Let's is this the button that? Oh no, wait. There we go. No, I better not try to do that. There we go. Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Hello, Gary.
Hi.
Welcome.
Like the station is well into its depth.
The death or depth?
Yeah.
How deeply you want to be buried.
6 feet at least, right?
There are layers and layers of experiential data flowing through all of this.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, how's it going over there, Gary? What's your summit experience like? How's today?
A little erratic, but some good hits.
Gary's been diving into the map too. We were just talking about the map.
Yeah, I was looking to make a connection on the map earlier today. Had a lovely lunch with
Valentina
Roban, and I'm looking forward to dinner this evening with whoever shows up, because they're the right people, right?
That's how it works. Yeah, Valentina's on the map too. You can look her up, and her organization, Youth by Youth, actually 2 organizations that she helped to found, Youth by Youth and the Weaving Lab, are both, what do we call them? Partners, right, Max? As is your Intuitive Network, a partner, right? in convening the summit. Thank you for.
Yeah, and I didn't realize at first that the map would be public. Like when we started learning about this, the map being public is a really powerful thing too. Like we get to be part of this collective community body that is representing the importance of this work that we're collaborating in, and other people can come explore in that and see what people's answers are and see what people are interested in facilitating and what people have joined in with.
Yeah, think of it as a commons. We're co-creating a commons. And it's amazing to me how willing people are to put all kinds of, information into that space, including in most cases their email. There's a lot of richness.
There are a lot of really beautiful projects that people had before this and brought to it to connect in. I mean, it's a beautiful ecosystem altogether that's being demonstrated. It's very much an interconnected physiology. I go back to the word physiology a lot because all of the exchanges of energy and exchanges of nutrients and flows of information or resources and the building of relationships, I think that's amazing.
Synergistic.
Yes.
Intertwinglement.
Intertwinglement is an excellent word.
One of the things I think is different about the way we're operating and approaching all these things, and again, with that foundation of open space technology and just like emerging conversations, and, rather than top down, we figured out what to do and we're going to plug people into it. I know a lot of us are very excited about, potential collaborations and networking our networks. But I see so much focus on building relationships, and that makes me feel really happy and centered, and just all the different energy that's going to people connecting in, what we might call like the spiritual energy of the work that we're all doing, and getting to, connect with other people about what we're passionate about. And, we all have a lot of, the title of the summit, right? Like co-creating a world that works for all. That's a vision that we share in one form or another. And so, it's easy to burn out. It's easy to just like work and work and work. And so that group body, the physiology of like, I'm not doing this alone. It's not all up to me. Perhaps something I haven't thought of yet can come through this experience, and new connections can get made. And, we have more power and creativity together. And I'm kind of a, social design, social organizing nerd. So I'm just like happy as a clam in this environment.
Yay.
The whole thing is very embodied. When you say spiritual, like the thing that really sets it apart for me is that the whole collective collaboration of it is very embodied, and it seems like it's growing good roots for all of the different people all over the world who are participating in it. There's something really grounded and really real about it, which is my favorite kind of spirituality for sure.
Yeah, when I say spiritual, I mean inspired, right? Like that alive creative energy and, you know, willingness that comes with it, and openness. And
Hey, I have a question, and
Sure.
claim to any particular expertise here, but I am curious about one dimension of how this web is being conceptualized, and the map. I'm wondering about its internal responsiveness. In other words, how does everyone know when there's something significant that happens in one node? How is that communicated through the map, through the network, or is it?
Well, I can answer a little bit. One of the things that's been an innovation with the summit is that Lucas Chaffee, who developed the KikoChat platform, has used KikoChat as a backend to create notifications. So it used to be put something on the map, and the only way to know what happened was to go look at the map and notice there before, including a connection that might be new that was made, or good luck if something got edited, right? So it was still there, but you had to click into it and notice the thing that changed. What Lucas has created is a system that lets us know whenever a new invitation has been added or a new connection has been made to an invitation. Emails go out. In the first case, they go out to everybody. In the second case, they go out to whoever put that invitation out. You know, somebody has responded. And there's a bit more functionality besides that. But just that alone, to me, is really shifts this thing from an exciting picture that tells you there's something going on, but I'm not part of it,
to becoming an organism.
Yeah. Now it's a tool for collaborating and signaling to one another that we're just barely beginning to figure out how to use well. Because it's not as easy as we'd like it to be. You know, I think we have.
for sure. Yeah, I so appreciate all the bridging, you know, you and John and lots of other people who are, you know, showing up to help people or available to help people interact. But yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things we do in the Intuitive Network is like we're using the tech to do streamline as many things, take steps that we don't have to do by hand. But then, you know, figuring out which things to prioritize doing by hand. Like right now, if there's an invitation and something happens, I would love to see people do that little handwork of saying, I'm going to make a report, or I'm going to make an announcement, or I'm going to add to our commons of, you know, data, documents, and so on, and share what happened. So like, you know, we're not recording everything. That would be so overwhelming anyway, but like to actually like, so we've got some things set up, right? Where like the notifications come out. That's a really great level up. And then some things that we may want to try to support people and encourage people to report back to the larger body, or make sure that the work they're doing is visible and comes back into the center a little bit too.
And that's part of what we can put into the map. So each of those invitations has a set of results about sharing what happened as a result.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. I haven't found that part yet. See, I'm moving slow with the tech, and that's why I need this to keep going longer.
There are a lot of different forms of signaling that are built into, like there are a lot of additional forms of signaling in addition to what we've talked about so far. So Ben, you mentioned in one of your tutorials, you mentioned the sneaker net, the people moving information from one place to another where that's necessary, and that we keep referring back to that. That's been really helpful reference.
Peggy, actually, who wrote that script, I was reading her words. She was part of that work in the early days of the internet, I guess. You know, was involved in some of its development, and we knew people that were doing that. You know, the computers weren't actually connected well enough that sometimes you just had to literally carry the data from one computer to another. You know.
So we're verging on 5 p.m. Eastern. I don't want to end on time. Why would we end on time? I guess we can end on time. But wow, how wonderful it's been to get to talk with all of you.
Yeah.
Ben, can you say that again?
I was to say, I think Gary and I will go back to our group, but you all, I mean, it's, open space is over when it's over, which might be early.
Right, exactly. Ben and Gary, go ahead. Sorry.
It's still here. So each of these conversations end to anything. Although it might.
Be prepared to be surprised.
It all continues going forward. Ben and Gary, thank you for beaming in from your gathering there. I hope the gathering goes wonderfully well. Hope you have a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks for doing this. This was really fun.
Thanks, Akiko and Francois, for staying up so late. My God.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Gosh.
11 p.m.
Wow. Thank
So
you
great
so much.
having you all.
Maybe we do this again. Maybe we have to repeat this experiment and get even better at it. It's amazing to me that I managed to do this. There are a lot of moving pieces. It's a great blessing to me to get to spend time with you all today. Thank you for being here.
And
Thanks,
thank you
Kimberly.
and thank you for creating it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was fun to be here on the screen.
Thank you.
I've got the summit URL at the bottom of the screen. People can still join phase 2 of the Global Summit. So everyone who sees this video, feel invited to do so. And then you'll be connected to everything that happens after, whatever that turns out to be. So we want this process to continue. So I'll wrap us up. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Have good sleep for you who are going to sleep.
Thanks, Ryan, for stepping in on production support.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan.
It's all
Thanks
fun.
for maestroing.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Francois. Thank you, Nico. Thank you,
Thank
Johanna.
you.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
See y'all next time.
Thank you.
Oh.